Thanks to you at home for staying with us this hour. There was an unexpected announcement today from the Federal Reserve that the Fed was not going to dial back on its efforts to help the economy. The Fed said today they would continue their own version of an economic stimulus for the country as best they can. News of that surprise decision today led to a huge rally on Wall Street. You can see the before and after very clearly there. The S&P 500 hit a new record high today. The Dow went through the roof today. Happy days, right? If you own stocks, better go catch them. They have taken off running again. And, they basically have been running all year. Stocks up by 20% this year overall. Happy days on Wall Street, particularly today, where they just put an exclamation point on the dollar sign today. Don't get too excited, though, because in a week or two, we're about to throw down the tire-popping speed strip in front of the racing economy because, on purpose, we are going to shut down the federal government and maybe default on the national debt for fun and for profit. This is one of the weirdest and most entertaining hallmarks of this era in conservative politics in our country. It is the scam part of conservative politics. And usually the scam part of conservative politics is just funny and sometimes a little sad and exploitative. But right now, it is why we are about to shut down the federal government for no good reason and why we are maybe going to default on the debt. We have seen how this works in sharp relief for the past few years now. Exhibit A, back in 2010, the politician Mike Huckabee needed a job. He used to be governor of Arkansas. He tried to be president of the United States. Those things were over or they didn't work out. So instead, he created for himself a new job, the job of Obamacare repealer-in-chief.
It's one thing to have to take our medicine when we're kids, but American voters are grown-ups. We expect and demand to be treated like it, and we weren't. Well, now, we'll do our spanking on the Congress and show them that we still rule in this country. That's the way it's supposed to be, and the way it will be when we get this petition signed.
Call right now to sign the petition or go online before serious damage is done to our healthcare system and our economy. We must leave Washington no options.
We can do something about it. Join me in the most massive petition drive the nation has ever seen and help us repeal it now.
Do our spanking on the Congress. Repeal Obamacare. Join the most massive petition drive the nation has ever seen. And by all of that, we mean send Mike Huckabee a check. Hit that giant button at the bottom of the screen. Help fund the battle, preferably at the $2,500 level, which is also known as the Huckabee Special. Act now. Operators are standing by. Seriously, operators are standing by. Mike Huckabee wants you to call this number, the number right there on your screen, so he can repeal Obamacare. I was watching the Mike Huckabee repeal Obamacare ads today, and I thought, sitting there at my desk, you know what? I'm going to call. Okay, dialing. Here's what happens when you call.
To ensure proper handling, this call may be recorded. Hi, this is Richard Simmons. Thank you for calling to order Project Hope. I've taken everything I've learned over my 38-year career and packaged it into one 90-day program that will change your body and that will change your life. You get me in your living room motivating you every step of the way. It's time to get off that couch and get the body you've always dreamed of. Don't you think you're worth it?
Yep. You call Mike Huckabee's repeal Obamacare number, and what you get is Richard Simmons. You call Mike Huckabee to repeal Obamacare, and you get the astonishing hair guy with the glittery exercise suits who's ready to give you the body you've always dreamed of. Mike Huckabee has been working this scammy anti-Obamacare thing for so long that the infomercial gods have recycled his toll-free number and given it to Richard Simmons, who is still thin and lithe after all these years. And you know what? I am quite sure that jumping around with Richard Simmons will at least burn a calorie or two. But how exactly sending Mike Huckabee a check is going to lead to the end of Obamacare, that part does not compute. But that is what Mike Huckabee is promising. Send me money and I will take care of this whole Obamacare thing. Even though there was no conceivable connection between Mike Huckabee getting your money and that outcome. This is a standard con. You find people who have fears or strong desires, particularly if those fears and desires are poorly informed and very visceral, and then you capitalize on those fears and desires. You capitalize on them literally by getting those folks to send you their capital, to send you some of their money, because you've tricked them into thinking that you will take care of it, that you're going to get it done. But, in this case, this is not just some run-of-the-mill con man. Mike Huckabee is a very specific kind of con man. He came in second to John McCain in 2008 in the nominating race for President of the United States. The guy who came in second last time in the Republican Party, the guy who came in second to Mitt Romney in that race, he's also now got the same kind of gig. Just set up a website and an email list and go. Since he finished as the runner-up in the 2012 Republican presidential primary, Rick Santorum has kept close tabs on his great big donate button as well. Here you can see it see at the bottom there? Donate today. The Rick Santorum appeal, this one's against a UN treaty on the rights of disabled people. How will sending money to Rick Santorum stop that UN treaty? No idea, but hey, send some money. Here's the big donate button as well on a Rick Santorum pledge to keep the gay people from getting married in this country. Because with your most generous contribution to our campaign, he can urge the Supreme Court to rule his way. Donate now, or else the apocalypse. This leveraging of political fear and rage and not knowing any better into personal financial gain, this has been around since the first huckster kicked over a soapbox and stood on top of it yelling about the end of the world and his snake oil that could save you, right? This is a phenomenon that is almost without beginning, but it also appears to have no end.
Join hundreds of thousands of Americans who simply want the truth. And as a thank you for being part of this petition drive, you will receive the specially created Got a Birth Certificate bumper sticker. Also, you can help the United States Justice Foundation in their efforts to force President Obama to produce his birth certificate by making a gift of $30 that will enable us to send a fax on your behalf to all 50 state attorney generals and U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, demanding they force President Obama to supply his official state of Hawaii birth certificate.
A fax? Really? You send us $30, and by fax, we will get President Barack Obama unmade President of the United States. That, I'm sure, very profitable late-night infomercial was the product of a man called Gary Creep. I'm not calling him a creep. His last name is Creep. He has now parlayed his birther, huckster, fax everybody in sight mini strip mall empire into an actual role in government. Last year, it was Gary Creep who got himself elected as a San Diego County judge. He's an actual judge now. You can make something of yourself in a racket like this. You can make yourself famous, and you might just get rich while you're trying. Just the other day, the folks at the way out there WorldNet Daily website, they opened an impeachment online superstore. I think it was first spotted by the folks at Talking Points Memo. In the new WorldNet Daily impeachment superstore, you can buy books on impeaching President Obama and bumper stickers on impeaching him. You can buy a bumper sticker telling everybody to honk for impeachment, or turn their car lights on for impeachment. You can buy an Impeach Obama magnetic easy-off adhesive bumper sticker. Quote, do not be afraid to assert your opinion with our magnetic bumper sticker that peels right off. None of that is going to get President Obama impeached. Not the books, not the stick-on bumper stickers, not the magnetic ones either. But that's how it works in the scam sector of the conservative movement. Find a fear, preferably one that doesn't make much sense. Find a visceral desire. Say that you will do something about it. And because people don't quite know what it is they're afraid of or what they have this desire about, they might just believe you. So convince them that you can fix it for them. Put a donation button next to your pitch, and voila. And now it is happening again. This is the website for FreedomWorks. End Obamacare with your generous donation. Same deal at the Senate Conservatives Fund. Do not fund Obamacare. Instead, fund us. Hit the donate button. The National Liberty Federation is standing by to defund Obamacare as soon as you send them your money. Over at Heritage Action for America, the Jim DeMint thing, quote, you can ensure that Obamacare is defunded. Find out how. Hint, donate today. The scam end of conservative politics has been running this racket for long enough, and in a way that is sort of repetitive enough that it is becoming obvious when they are doing it, so much so that it's even making other parts of the right a little uncomfortable. The conservative magazine The National Review noted this week that, quote, business has boomed on the right since the push to defund Obamacare caught on. The Daily Beast flat out named the booming business on the right as a swindle. But diagnosing this swindle, this sort of profit-driven ruse, is not the same thing as making it go away. And this is what we are coping with now as a nation. I mean, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, right, passed Congress, signed into law by the president, survived challenge at the Supreme Court. It was ruled constitutional. It has already resulted in expanded Medicaid in 20 states. The number of uninsured Americans is already dropping. The exchanges where people can buy health coverage, those are set to open at the end of the month. The ads for the new state-based exchanges, like these ones here, they're running in states all across the country. Premiums for health insurance that people are going to be able to buy through the exchanges, premium rates are being released. Turns out premiums are turning out in lots of cases to be lower than was expected. Health reform is underway. It is happening no matter what. But because there is still the possibility of eking just a few more dollars out of the most gullible conservative patsies out there, who still think that Mike Huckabee's faxes are going to change America, because there is still the possibility of eking a few more bucks out of enough patsies in this country who are not savvy enough to realize that them sending in their money to the Heritage Foundation is not going to make it any less likely that any of this is going to happen. Because of that, because there is money to be made, we are apparently going to shut down the government. Let's see what that does to the economy. We might even default on our national debt. We have a pretty good idea what that would do to the national economy. We're at least going to threaten to do both of those things. There's going to be a vote in the House of Representatives on Friday. That will pass, presumably, because it's Republican-controlled. And that vote will put us on track for a government shutdown. And because we can see it happening, and because it is the same pattern over and over again in this era of conservatism, we know why this is happening. It is happening because of the racket. It is happening because people are making money off of it. We know why it is happening. That question is answered. The unanswered question is how we are going to handle the consequences.